everyone. So we're just going to get started now. Thanks everyone for coming along tonight. A bit more pressure tonight. We've got a product team here doing the live stream, so thanks very much for that. Tonight it's probably been 1 year since we started the tech meetups in Edinburgh, and I think we're up to 912 members within the group at the moment. Consistently between 60 and 100 attendees every month, and we've been consistent with this. We have events every month at the moment, so really great to see everybody, and good to see a lot of faces who keep coming back, and a lot of new faces tonight as well, so welcome people who haven't came before. We're really starting to put a push on this throughout Scotland at the moment. We had a meet-up event in Aberdeen last month. We had probably 60 or 70 people attend that, which was really good. We've got an event in Glasgow next Thursday. It's before the kind of TEDx event. It's like data disruption. It's going to be a really good event as well. We're going to start reaching out to like Dundee and other cities as well. So we're a massive push to kind of just build the community. And as I said, we're at the moment we're Scotland's largest tech meetup. Anyway, so it's a great achievement. It's great to see everybody. Tonight we've got Redex kindly came along to present tonight. I won't talk too much about this. Usually it's big data and data science, which I've been working in that industry for a number of years, and I can talk a little bit about that. But it's quite a technical presentation tonight, probably a little bit over my head, so I'll hand it straight over to yourself. Thanks.
Hey everyone. As the presentation title says, it's Docker, Spark, and weather, and finding your perfect weather. So I don't want it to be too technical, but I'll mention the technologies that I used and how they were useful in participating in this hackathon. Maybe before we start, has anyone of you here heard about Spark? Who has used Spark? Okay, and Docker? And who has used Docker? Okay, so like half of the people here. So okay, so I don't have to worry. It's a little bit about me. I'm Radek Ostrowski. I'm a freelancer. My company is called Fast Data Limited, and what I do, I specialize in Spark and Docker. So this was like a perfect project for me. I recently started working with TopTal. They are like an agency that help you find remote work. So what you can do is be escaping winter and be in the Caribbean coast of Colombia for 3 months in a hammock and working part-time from there. This is actually where I started working on the hackathon as well. I had some free time. I might be organizing some TopTal events soon, so if anybody's interested, you can approach me later. But this is a cool way of being working from anywhere you want. So, and those are the two main technologies I'm interested in, and I use them in this project. So today, what I want to share with you is like a quick story of the hackathon. So basically, how it all started. A short demo and some tech details, but it won't be too deep, and a short presentation of a Spark notebook, and some summary of the technologies and what's next for my Perfect Weather project. So how it all started, IBM recognized the power of Spark, and they are heavily investing in it. So just now they're trying to buy every Spark developer they can find, especially if you contributed to Spark. They really believe it. They really believe in it as a technology. So if IBM goes all in, then I think it's a technology to look for as well. And they recently bought the weather company. So somebody must have had this great idea. Okay, why not marry the two? Let's create a hackathon where you have to use Spark and use the weather data. And they hooked up with DevPost They are a big organizer of different hackathons, both like local and online. And they created this, a thing called Sparkathon. So it started, I think, like November last year. They thought, okay, let's just advertise whatever we have and advertise IBM Bluemix platform. This is like their platform comparing to AWS, but with many different services. I'll share a little bit of what I found out about this. So a quick elevator pitch for my project. So myperfectweather.eu is a award-winning free web service where you can find cities that have the perfect weather for you. So basically, you just have to define what the perfect weather means for you, and you'll be presented with a ranked list of cities that match your request. As far as we know, there is no other service like this out there. And normally you have to think of a city first, and then you have to check and investigate what's the weather like it out there, what's the forecast, and you have to iterate until you're successful, until you find the weather that match the weather that you expected to find. So I think this is quite unique, and recently became affiliates with Skyscanner. So this empowers us to help you find as cheap flight as possible with a single click. And it's all just beginning, so I'll be more than happy to take any comments and any suggestions of how it can be more useful to anyone, and how it can be better in general. So this is today, right? So if you see, well, I think we are like those people on the sides. They are just wet and miserable. If you're like the person in the center, like she's so happy, she probably used the app and she wanted to have rain, so she searched for rain, and she flew over to Edinburgh, and she's probably testing her umbrella or something, but she's the only happy one. So I thought it would be a cool slide to show on the weather on a day like today. Here's the new logo. So I think this is the time where I'll give you a short demonstration of what the project is about and the hackathon page. I have it somewhere here. So this is DevPost. They run lots of different hackathons. They are both online and in person. Some of them have lots of money that can be won. Some of them are almost for free, or you just compete because you want to. I found this hackathon by accident, and because it combines like Spark, a technology that I was interested in, and I could use Docker, and I had this idea in the back of my mind of doing a service that would help you to find the perfect weather. Then I thought, why not? I can just enter this. And I had some free time at the same time, so it was like all the things ticked, and I took part in it. So this is the official Sparkathon page. So there were, as I said, nearly 600 people that participated, and yeah, I'm happy to say that I was the winner. Here it is, my perfect weather. I didn't expect this. I thought maybe I'll be somewhere at the top, but I never expected to be the winner. But I really enjoyed the project anyway. So if I hadn't won anything, then I wouldn't mind. What else I wanted to show you is I wrote a quick blog post. So if anybody's interested, you can go and have a read later about the project itself. But let's just go here. So this is, doesn't look too bad. this is the project. As I said, it will help you find destinations that match your perfect weather. So let's see how it could look like. There are several preset buttons. Some people said, okay, it might be just quite tricky to start fiddling with the weather control straight away. So why don't you provide some preset buttons and then we can take it from there. So here they are. So by doing those, you can be adjusting the values here. And so there's temperature, precipitation type, chance of precipitation, cloud cover, wind speed, and relative humidity. And you can also select the origin airport. And then you'll be presented with a list of cities that match to your request. And if anyone is interested, I encourage you to sign up. If you're interested in the future of the project, I'll be sending some emails, but I promise not to spam you. And we are now affiliates with Skyscanner, and IBM provides the weather data. And you can contact us via the social media and so on. When I say us, I mean it's mostly me and a little bit of my wife. So let's, I think on a day-to-day we have to definitely go for warm, sunny and dry. So like warm temperature, absolutely no rain, so 0 chance of precipitation. Slow, little percent of cloud cover. Just not too windy, and humidity we don't care. And let's select Edinburgh. Okay, we have some results here. So maybe a quick intro. So I put the number 8 here. What 8 means is that there are 8 perfect days that match the query. So they are marked with the blue background, as you see here. So the results are ranked with the amount of days that they match to your request. And I also sort them by the estimated lowest price. So it will be the price from Edinburgh to Alicante. So the lowest price found 7 days ago would be £106. So you can see there are more results here. Normally, you would think, okay, maybe Barcelona is the perfect place to go, so I want to just go there, and then you check the weather forecast, and there are only 2 days, which are like you would expect. So I think this application can be quite useful. So it shows that definitely it's Athens or Alicante, not Barcelona this week. And you can see like the main weather descriptions here. So min, max, humidity, wind speed, wind direction, and so on. So let's see if we can find some cheap flights to Alicante. So this page is linked with Skyscanner. Looking for flights. Well, so 376 is not quite what we expected, but from the previous page. But actually, I checked the prices before the stock, and the cheapest price was for Ryanair flight, and the nearest Ryanair flight is already sold out. That's why the prices are up here. But if you are, you can still look for cheaper prices. So let's say that we are happy to go there on maybe on Friday and come back. Let's stay there for a week, come back on here or something. Let's see if we can get just direct flights. So you can get a Ryanair flight for 133. So it might not be exactly the dates that are presented on the first screen, because I don't really know which days you want to go. So what the application does, it just searches for the next day plus 7 days or plus 10 days. But you can go and adjust here. So you can fly to Alicante and you say hi to your friend Maria. Okay. Are there any questions at this point about the application? Okay, so I'll go back to the presentation. So quick overview of the architecture. This is the original architecture submitted to the project, so it's slightly different from what I have now. The whole thing runs in the IBM Bluemix platform, and the weather API component is a web service which allows you to query for the weather data. So basically, you just do HTTP requests and you specify GPS coordinates, and you get the weather. And there is a Play app which downloads the weather request, the weather information, and it puts it into a database called CloudDB, which also runs inside of Bluemix. It is basically, this database is a JSON store. It's like Mongo. I think most of the people heard of MongoDB. It's similar, but you don't really have a direct connector, but you do everything via HTTP. And Bluemix can run Spark notebooks. Spark notebook would connect to the database, which would fetch the raw weather data, would do some processing, and would write back the pre-processed weather data, which is ready to be served to the users whenever they come and do the searches. So a happy user would type in whatever the perfect weather is, and then the query would be made to the database, and they would be presented with the results. And initially, I just had a forward link to Momondo, but now I have a proper integration with Skyscanner. Here's a screenshot of the Bluemix dashboard. There are many different things you can do here. You can start your own Cloud Foundry apps. You can have your own containers or virtual machines. As you see here, I have one container running, and there are various data analytic tools, and they have hundreds of different services and APIs. So they are really rich when it comes to functionality. Oops. Here you can see the services that I'm using. So Cloudant is the database. Insights for Weather is the API, which gives me the raw weather predictions. And Spark was the Spark notebook that I was using. And I was given a free trial as a participant of the hackathon. I still have 68 days left, and then I have to start paying. So here's a screenshot of some of the services that they have. So, for example, you can plug into Twitter, or you can have some streaming analytics as well, predictive analytics. They also have Watson, I think, which is one of the most famous services that they provide. And they also have a thing called object storage, which is like S3 from Amazon. So as they say, good things come in small containers. So it's a slide on Docker. For the project, I'm using an SBT Docker plugin, which basically it's a few lines of code that I add to the project build file. And then for me, building the whole project is just running one command, and it's not the executable that I get at the end, but it's a Docker image, something that I can just run and have my project running. So all the project code is assembled and put inside of the Docker image. And also, this plugin creates a script, like a startup script that would start my application when I start the container. Has anyone used SBT Docker plugin before? No. It's pretty cool. You don't have to write a Docker file at all if you don't want to. And what I would do next, I would push this image to IBM Bluemix container service. So you could do it via command line. It's quite easy. You can start your application from command line as well, or from the UI. I tried to do it last week on the Docker meetup, and it failed miserably. So I won't be doing any live demonstrations of Bluemix platform today. But I think it's a very new service that's in the Bluemix platform. So you can see things like this, and like this, and like this, and like this, and like this. So if anybody asks me if container service is ready for production, I would definitely say no. But it's running. Sometimes those things happen, and I just took a screenshot. But they're still new, so we have to give them some chance to make it better. So yeah, I won't be presenting a real application here, but I will use a Spark notebook running locally. So I will use a Spark notebook provided by Datafellas, which is this. I really like their logo. Let me see if I can start it up. So I think this will be like the most technical part, but if you don't understand the code, it doesn't matter. I'll explain what's happening there. So basically, with the notebook, it gives you an easy and interactive way to work with Spark and to execute code with Spark. And you can also add some markup, which means it is perfect for presentations. So you can already have code which is working. So it's kind of like coding live, but not quite. So you can test it before. And they are becoming more and more popular among data scientists. So I'll just do some imports here to start with. Basically, what I will try to show you with this notebook is I will take raw weather data and I will parse it with Spark in such a way so it's ready for us to try to find our perfect weather locations, to get it to the point where you can start asking questions like, I want a place where temperature is higher than X and so on. And it's very easy. And Spark is really for distributed computing and processing lots of data. Here is a very little amount of data, but it is still very useful. So I have a JSON file that when you query the weather service, you get the responses as JSON. So I already downloaded a file here. So we can use a data frame plugin for JSON, which will read in everything that's there, and it will understand the JSON structure. So it loaded the data. So now let's see how it looks like. So it is a modified data set, and I added several things. So I added city, airport, and a country. Forecasts and metadata comes from the weather service. And basically, this would be JSON. Here is formatted, but you would see something like this for every city. So you can't tell anything from it, right? So this is one city. So now let's see how we could process it. We can do a count. So we'll see how many cities we have here. There are 101 cities. The interesting thing about Spark is that you can start querying your data sets as if you were writing SQL queries or using data frames. So this is JSON, but we can query it as if it were a database, so which is pretty cool. Here I'm doing some selects using data frames. I saved you lots of work. I already know what I want to extract, so I'm taking the day of the week, date, a number, which is a day ahead from today in the prediction data, forecasts, max and min temperature, high is the perceived weather, some wind speed, icon code. Icon code is very useful when you want to show an image of the weather. So like you see a sun or a cloud or something, this is the icon. And there are other components here. But what's pretty cool is that you can go deep inside of JSON. So there's like some like deep objects. So I can here forecast is a top level object, and this is lower object. And here I can go even 2 down, forecast, day, and icon code. It's quite cool. So after doing this, it should make a little bit more sense for us. So, okay, here we have a list of days, here list of dates, list of numbers, list of temperatures. This is, we have 11 entries in every column. This is for the day starting today, plus 10 days. So some of the fields might be missing. Here we are missing 1. So for the rest of this presentation, we'll just focus on the weather from tomorrow. So it doesn't really make sense to predict the weather for today, because you won't be flying today anyway. And yeah, you can see other weather components. Oh yeah, so we can at the end we should see the cities. So this one is for Amsterdam. This one is for Alicante. Okay, I think this is the most difficult cell. Basically what I will do, I will put inside of a case class all the raw data variables I had. And then I will iterate, here I will iterate over all the cities, and then iterate over every list of values that I had in every column. So I will split it per column, so we'll see separate lines per city per day. It'll be easier to show it. So I think this is already something that can be used. We have here days, dates, numbers, max, min, mean temperature. We just calculate it on the fly as well. Perceived temperature and so on. And this is all for Alicante. We can check other cities. So this one is for Amsterdam, and so on. This one's for Athens. So it's alphabetically sorted. Okay, so now we have a data set we can actually use for our application. So let's find somewhere warm, sunny, and dry. So you can write SQL or SQL-like if you want to. So let's look for a place where the minimum temperature is bigger or equal than 20 degrees, and there is a little cloud cover, and there is no chance of rain. Let's see what we end up with. No, it says it's showing 6 records, but it's not showing. Okay, it is now. We have 6 days that match the criteria we gave it. It's 2 days for Athens, 2 for Palermo, 2 for Valletta. So probably you wouldn't decide on a place just if it's 2 days, but then you can adjust the query to see if you can get something better. Or you could decide on, you could check what are the flight prices if you're interested. And here we can see that, yeah, min temperatures everywhere is 20 or more. Or another use case could be that you want to fly a kite, so you would like to have some perfect wind for it, somewhere between 16 and 32 kilometers per hour. And yeah, not too cloudy, but not too sunny, and also no rain. And this time let's also sort it by city and country and see how many days we get. So Alicante came as our top hit. it's quite easy. You can just write normal SQL if you want to. Here, let's look for, maybe you want to go fishing. So probably you would like the sky to be quite cloudy, not too sunny, so then the fish don't go too deep, and with very little wind. Of course, you must have some water as well. But potentially you could go to Stockholm, or you could go to Torun, which is my home city. I think that's a Spark notebook. So this is somewhere where we want to go next. The competition has finished, but I thought, okay, I think this is a good idea. People seem to like it and enjoy it. So maybe I can take this forward. We recently signed up affiliate agreement with Skyscanner, so now I can show those prices and I can integrate well with their search. What I'm planning to do next is launch the same thing for United States. Just now it only supports Europe. And I think I'll be moving away from Bluemix, probably to AWS. I had a quick check with Docker Cloud. So what I did, I took my last production image of my perfect weather, and I just put it to Docker Cloud. 5 minutes after I started doing this, I had my production server running. So it's really fast. It just proved to me like the Docker is really cool. And then a wrap up. So I think Spark and Docker are really cool. They can really get your job done very quickly, and they're very powerful. Here I didn't have a big data set, but it still was useful to navigate through JSON files and so on. And Docker just lets me be portable, so I can just switch platforms whenever I want. IBM Bluemix, they have hundreds of services. They are big, but unfortunately for me, the services that I used, they didn't work quite well. Docker, I showed the slide earlier. With Spark, they only have a way of running notebooks, so you can't really execute code, as far as I know, unless they changed something very recently. And you can't schedule running your Spark notebook. So in case of this application, I would have to be logging in every day and running the notebook just to update the weather data. So I think it's a big limitation. And I would encourage anyone to participate in at least one hackathon. I think it's really cool. Maybe you'll get something out of it money-wise, but if not, I'm sure you'll enjoy it and have some good ideas and meet some cool people and so on. It was the best project I worked on, the hackathon. So where's my beer?
Hi, thanks very much. That's great. Thanks very much. Any questions?
Very nice project, quite interesting. So I was wondering, so I assume weather data, weather forecast you can only get for maybe 10 days or something like that, right? So for example, I spent the last 6 days in a city in Spain where the weather in October was always very, very nice, and in November was not very nice, to say the least. So assume I go to your webpage and I find, there's really lovely, perfect weather in October, and then I go there and don't find a cheap flight. Then I look a bit around, then in November, like a week later, there's really lovely weather. And then it probably wouldn't turn out so well from that data. Have you thought about including past data too?
So at the moment it's just 10 days. So I just use whatever I get from Bluemix, from the weather service. I thought of using like the averages of the past to to show like the estimated weather for the future, and then maybe I could do some smart things there, use the recent weather and try to improve the averages. But I think predicting weather is very complex, so it will be too big job for this project. But I would like to think of this that this is more to give you ideas and maybe discover places that you haven't seen before, you haven't known. Maybe you will fly to Belgrade or something because it came up at the top of the list. I think nobody really believes 100% in weather prediction anyway, so yeah, maybe I should put some disclaimer somewhere there as well. But yeah.
Yeah, have you thought maybe adding something to do with the activities you can do in cities? So you've had the option of, you want to go fishing, but maybe have something to look up where or not fishing facilities are available in the area, or if you wanted to have a nice hot sunny day, they go to the beach, check if the city has a beach or something nearby.
I haven't thought about this one specifically, but I'm compiling a list of to-dos, and it's getting huge now. And I have a full-time job, and I'm a parent of two. So this is like my very, very, very side project. So maybe, I don't know, maybe I have to look for some sponsors or something and then hire a team, I don't know. But I think it can be taken somewhere, this idea. And as you say, it can be improved maybe for fishing or for various things. I don't know.
So a very nice project, very, very impressive. Can I just ask you about the very early design decisions to do with the actual concept, My Perfect Weather? What kind of decisions, route did you go? Did you already have an interest in this kind of thing before it even took a technical form, but just part of the tech hackathon?
So I leave Edinburgh frequently because of the weather, so I travel. So this was like my idea, okay, perfect weather. But then in terms of like the architecture and how the project's designed, I really went for the MVP, for the minimal thing that works. And I was constantly like every day or so I would check, okay, what I'm doing now and why am I doing so much? Just cut it down. And you normally start having ideas and then you try to develop them, but then, well, you might be doing too much. On the technical part, I spent 2 weeks. So I did this is an extended version that you saw, but the initial project that was submitted to the competition was just 2 weeks of work. So I really wanted to keep it down. I only had like 50 cities and do as little work as possible and have something running. And then when it's working, then you can build out, you can do more things, you can add features. So this was like my process, to start very small and then build out. And the complexity of the project, it's like, if I don't count the UI, the JavaScript stuff, it's maybe like 200 lines of code. It's super, super simple.
So, since it's not a lot of data, am I right in thinking that Spark would be like roughly the same speed of any sort of programming?
Yes, one of the rules of the competition was that you have to use Spark.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, okay, I want to use Spark anyway, and even though it doesn't have much data, doesn't matter.
What sort of size of data are you looking at before you start seeing? Is the advantage just that it can handle very large data, or is it also fast?
Well, now I just run it on one machine, so you don't really take any advantage of Spark. But if I had some great ideas and I had suddenly lots of data sources that I would be combining real time, and then I would like to throw in some machine learning into the spin, then this is something that Spark could come in useful.
Hi, so really great product. I just want to ask you regarding Bluemix. How easy was it to get up and running with Bluemix compared to some of the other solutions out there?
When I started the project, I think I was surprised that it wasn't too difficult. So just read the documentation and I don't know, 10-15 minutes, and you can start doing something. There were some initial glitches with Spark notebooks and with some permissions and something. So, but this is still very new. Now they're trying to promote it, even though it might not be completely ready yet. So So because I was touching the very new components, I expected some issues. But the other components that have been there for some time, I think they are quite straightforward to use. Like once I set up my access to the container service, just as soon as I build an image from command line from my laptop, I can push and run the app in production. So it's quite nice.
How easy is it with Docker to dynamically scale your applications?
Docker in general is easy to scale. So there are various platforms that help you orchestrate your containers. So there's like Kubernetes, and you can do it with Mesos. There are various tools out there, Docker Swarm. I haven't really used anything. I just have one container. There is no need for me at the time. But yes, if I wanted, I could scale it up easily.
Got a question from the live feed from Peter. Does the weather data have to be copied onto Cladon in order to do the queries?
No, like what you saw in the demonstration, it wasn't. It was just copied to the local disk. It was just downloaded from the internet, copied to the local disk, and then Spark just used it to query. I used it for the competition. I put it into the Cladon because you can only run Spark as a notebook, so it wasn't really interactive, so it couldn't integrate with the web service.
What was the motivation for using the SQL API as opposed to Scala or Python? Was it just for MVP?
Yeah, and I like Scala, so I just went with Scala. And it's very elegant, I think, and it enforces you to think differently about the application, the way you write code, and it has some good methodologies behind it which make the quality of the code better. So I just went with Scala.
Any more questions? Just before we finish up, talking about the Jeffrey Weller, just like to thank Georgia, she's been one of the co-organisers of the event. This will be our last Scotland Data Science and Technology event. She's flying out to Better Weller in Australia. So just like to thank her over the past year, she's been organising all the events, sorting all the alcohol, the pizza, the speakers, and everything else sort of happening. For this, but that's okay. Thanks very much, that's great. We appreciate the time to come and speak tonight. We're opening an event next Thursday in Glasgow, and we're in the process of putting an event live for June and Edinburgh over the next couple of days. So thanks everyone for attending, and see you all soon. Thanks very much.
Well, I'm reliably
It's like super simple.